Hey, this is Math Minutes Pro with Dr. Harrison. And today we're going to talk about how to solve a rational equation. All right, this is called a rational equation because notice another word for rational means fraction. We say a fraction is a rational number, or a number is a rational number because it can be written as a fraction. And you have three fractions here. All right, even though the variables are there, there's still you have a numerator and denominator. So we call it a rational equation. Now, there's going to be a lot of steps. We're going to take you through it. So get started, take good notes. First thing we need to do is we need to get a common denominator. And the way we do that is we find the LCD. So the LCD, in this case, when you have a rational equation written like that, is just the product of the denominators. So that's x times 2 times x times x plus 1. That's our LCD. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this LCD here and we're going to multiply it by each part of this rational equation so that we can get rid of these denominators and make the equation look a whole lot more manageable. All right, so I'm going to copy this rational equation again. All right. So we have, and make sure you copy it correctly, we have 3 over x plus, I'm going to put some space in here, 6 over 2 times x. And you'll get that, you'll understand why I'm doing that. And then equals 3 over x plus 1. All right. Now, what we want to do, again, is we're going to multiply this LCD by each part of this rational equation. All right, so we have x times 2 times x times x plus 1. That's multiplied by that part of the part of the equation. We're going to do the same thing here. So we have x times 2 times x plus 1. Very good. Multiplying this times that. And then the same thing over here. We have x times 2 times x plus 1. All right. So when we multiply this LCD by this first 3 over x, the x's will cross out. See that? And then what we're left with is 3 times 2 times x times x plus 1. Okay, these x's cross out, and because x divided by x is 1, and this is what you're left with. All right, we're going to do the same thing over here. And multiplying this LCD by 6 over 2x, we see that the 2 x's, 2 times x and 2 times x cross out and bring down the plus operation right here. And what we're left with is 6 times x plus 1. Very good. Then multiplying this LCD by this one here, you're right, you guessed, not guessed it, but you understand it. Okay, this crosses out here. Very good. So what we're left with in this case is we have 3 times x times 2 times x. All right, I'm just checking. It's always good to take your time and check and make sure everything's right for each step when you're solving a long problem like this. Now let's go ahead and simplify. So 3 times 2 times x, this is going to give us 6 times x plus 1 plus 6 times x plus 1 equals, now 3 times x is 3 times x. 3 times x times 2 times x is 6 times x squared. Very good. Now let's go ahead and let's simplify again. Now we're using the distributive property. We're multiplying 6 times x plus 1. So 6 times x is going to give us 6 times x squared. 6 times x times 1, bring down the plus sign, times 1 is 6 times x. Okay, now bring this plus sign over here. 6, and this is the same thing as this one over here. 6 times x, that's 6 times x squared. Bring down the plus sign right there. And then we have 6 times x times 1, which is 6 times x, equals 6 times x squared. All right, I'm just checking it to make sure we have everything. Everything looks good. It's easy to make a mistake, even when you know what you're doing, because you're writing all these numbers and variables. You just want to make sure everything is right. So now I want to get rid of this 6 times x squared over here, so I'm going to subtract it from both sides of the equation, the rational equation, minus 6 times x squared and minus 6 times x squared. Draw my line here. Very good. All the way across. And notice this crosses out, right? So we come back over here. We have 6 times x squared. We bring that down, plus 6 times x, right? Bring down this plus sign, another 6 times x, equals, and that's 0. Okay, starting out wide and coming to a narrowing to a point, looking a whole lot more manageable. All right, so let's go ahead and combine these two like terms. 6 times x plus 6 times x, so that we bring down 6 times x squared plus 6 times x plus 6 times x is what? You guessed. Yeah, you're right. You got it. It's 12 times x equals 0. So then you stop and you look and you think. All right. So I have this quadratic equation now here because the highest exponent of x is 2, second degree quadratic or polynomial. Now I'm looking here and I'm recognizing that the coefficient 6 and coefficient 12, all right, 6 is a factor of 12, so I can factor this part right here and set it equal to 0. So let's do that. So I look at the coefficients and they both have a factor of 6, a greatest common factor. So I'm going to pull that 6 out. They also have an x, so I'm going to pull that x out. They have an x in common. And then do this, set that equal to 0. All right, so 6 times x times what will give me 6x squared? X. 6 times x gives me 6x squared. Bring this plus sign down. 6 times x times what will give me 12x? 2. Let's check it. 6 times x times 2 is 12x. Looking pretty good. Now, this is a zero product property problem, right? Where we have two products that are multiplied equal to 0. So when you solve a problem like that, our next step, I'm just going to draw an arrow over here, is, all right, we're going to take 6 times x, set that equal to 0, that part right there, and x plus 2, and set that equal to 0. X plus 2 equals 0. Now we just solve for x, dividing both sides by 6. You get x equals 0, and then subtracting 2 from both sides, you get x equals -2. So let's check over here and see, because we have two answers, it's a quadratic, and see which one actually works out. So it's not F, because we do not have an x equal to -3. We do not have an x equal to 2, so it's not H. There is a solution because we got two solutions. You're right, it's G. Okay, so in this case, our solution is x equals, I'm going to cross that out, and we accept this one, x equals -2. This is our final answer, and it's the letter G in the multiple choice problem. That was quite a bit. Thanks for hanging in there. So thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out my Patreon page in my video description below. In my Patreon page, you can get access to exclusive math lessons, study tips, live Q&A, and more. See you next time.